Hey guys, it's Keel. Welcome back to Keel's Corner. Today is my fourth video, and you're joining me from my man cave in my basement. First off, I want to say thank you so much, and I genuinely mean this, to all those people that sent me texts and pictures and videos of their handwritten goals. That meant the world to me. Some of the people that reached out to me, it was just amazing. It was some of my tougher friends that wrote down some heartfelt goals and things that they were like, hey, I really appreciate your video. I'm just not ready to share this with the world, but this is what I'm out there trying to do, and thank you for making the video. So you're welcome, and thank you guys so much for watching it. Please like and subscribe and send these on if they do help you become a better version of yourself. So today I'm going to talk to you about a story that happened to me when I was 16 years old. I have a lot of stories, so this is another one, and this one really means a lot to me. This is something that my dad told me, and it really changed how I look at things and the landscape of my life. So with that, I was 16 years old. I grew up playing baseball out in Washington State, hence all the Seahawks memorabilia. And it was the state championship, and that's all everybody talked about growing up. Watch any high school, movie, and it's always got to win state, got to win state. So, I happened to play, I was very, very fortunate to be on a team full of phenomenal athletes. The guys that are out there watching it, like Tabor, Garrett, Zach, the Fultons, all those guys that played on the team, they were outstanding, arguably the best athletes I've ever seen. And I really appreciate all that you guys did to carry our team to that state championship. So we won state, and after the gloves have been thrown and the hats have been thrown, the dog pile's done, everybody got a chance, kind of like the Stanley Cup, to hold this massive trophy and kind of do your victory lap and get pictures with it. And so it finally became my turn. So my best friend Garrett and I got a picture together, and then I waddled over with this huge trophy to go get a picture to show my parents. And my dad was there, and that was a big deal because my dad worked odd hours at his job and didn't make a lot of games, and making the state championship was a really big deal. And so there I am, ear to ear smile, and I have this big trophy, and I'm like, I can't wait to show Dad. And I walk over and I'm like, Dad, I'm like, we did it. We won state. And then my dad he did just like he always does. In that very stern voice, he just looked at me and he nodded. And he didn't say this to be a jerk in any way. He just said it because he knew I could conceptualize what he was trying to get across and just how he thinks. And then my dad said, arguably the most profound thing I've ever read or heard in my entire life. And what he said was 2 words. He goes, "That's great, son, but what's next?" And I hadn't thought that through at all. So it hit me like a brick to the head. I was like, what's next? I don't know what's next. I was supposed to win this, and we won this. That was supposed to be the end of it. Box checked, life complete, high school state champion, and we're great. And I hadn't thought it through. And so the smile slowly fades. The trophy, I remember vividly just slowly going out of my hands onto the next player and getting pictures of his family. I just looked at my dad, and I was kind of nodded, and I was like, And I just kind of wandered off. And as the story goes, so I told my best friend Garrett, I was like, hey, my dad, he's like, gotta go. And I was like, well, that's my dad. So he kind of, he told me, he's like, yeah, it's great, but what's next? And it hit us both because we really hadn't thought of it. So as the story goes, like I said, that night we end up going out, just like every other high school movie. After the state championship, there was a big party and a bonfire, and we just kind of sat on the back, and everybody was celebrating, and we did it, we're the best. And he and I were like, this is cool, but I get what your dad's saying, what's next? And we took that forward, and so we just kind of faded away from the party, and that's kind of how he and I have attacked life since. And there's so much to be learned from that lesson. There's so much power in those 2 words. That is a growth mindset. That is the concept of never being satisfied with any level of success, and then knowing you can always do more. And yes, at some point in athletics, you probably peak and you can't keep going in athletics. But guess what? What's next? Well, you can teach. You can instruct, you can be a broadcaster or go a different route. You can learn the piano, a new language. You can travel, you can volunteer, you can be a community leader, go into politics. There's so many other things that you can do in life. So always ask yourself those 2 words that my dad asked me, what's next? So take those goals that you wrote last month, and go out there and do everything you can to achieve them. But once you achieve them, take a deep breath and go, what's next? And then set bigger goals and set your sights even farther and grander and something that's just monumental, and then go try and do that. I will tell you this. Do celebrate your victories. Maybe don't go as aggressive. Maybe let the kid get his photo, then ask him the profound question, not letting him have it during the video, right, when he's there to take the photo. So maybe my dad could have learned a little tact there, but there is a bit, it's just, but let people win, like enjoy the win. And there's like people that work for you, your kids, the people that work alongside, your friends, your family, like be so happy for them. Celebrate a win like if they won the World Series. But, then when the confetti is gone and, all the banners are down, it's like maybe then come up and be like, hey, have you thought of what's next? Like, you did this, you're so awesome and you hit this home run and you won this game or you achieved this goal or you ran this marathon or whatever it is. What's next? And I think that they'll get a lot out of that if you ask, if you ask them that and you ask yourself that. Just the last story on that is I ran a marathon 3 years ago and I didn't train at all. Like I barely trained at all for like a half marathon. A week prior, I almost quit. And if you know anything about me, I don't quit. So that was a big deal. But I was like, everyone's told me I got to run 20 miles and I've only run one run of 15 and it went extremely poorly. And I was like, but you know what? To get on that right side of that bell curve, I got to do things that nobody else would do. So if everyone's saying that I shouldn't run this, I got to run it now. And it went terrible. I'll be honest. It went real bad. I mean, at mile 10, my legs cramped so bad that I was like the new deer that can barely walk. And I remember literally praying to God on the side of the road, like, God, in DC, I was like, God, can I please just crawl? Because if I can crawl, I can walk. If I can walk, I can run eventually. And I got through it. But at mile 23, a couple of my buddies met me, and one of which is my really good friend, Kyle Clinton. And Kyle and I were I'm barely walking at this point. And I remember looking and seeing the finish line in the distance. And I remember telling Kyle, I was like, that's not a finish line. That's just a starting line. Because now I know that I'm able to do this. So that's my new baseline. So when you do those things and you ask yourself, what's next? You've raised the level. So hit that. Now that I've run a marathon, it's like, I know I can run a marathon. And 2 months later, I did another one. So it's like, that you can achieve it, but then immediately set the goal something farther down the road. And if it has to be in a different capacity, you tap out in this avenue, dude, find a new one. Go learn, like I said, go learn a language, read more, volunteer, but always be improving, always be learning. Gandhi, I love Gandhi's quote. Gandhi says, live as if you were to die tomorrow, learn as if you were to live forever. And I love that. So constantly be learning, constantly be improving, asking yourself what is next. And that's really how you achieve that level of success. So how does that tie into all this gear? Why am I wearing a Russell Wilson jersey? Why do I have all the Seahawks gear? Twofold. Number one, I love the Hawks. I think they're the best team in the NFL. Growing up in the Pacific Northwest, I've been a Hawks fan since we were horrible. But more importantly, and why it ties into this video, is so Russell Wilson's 7 years younger than me. So there's no way this story overlapped. He was 9 when I was 16. But when they won the Super Bowl, and he's now Super Bowl, they put a title in front of your name now. He's Super Bowl winning quarterback, Russell Wilson. I wanted to see what the Hawks Super Bowl ring looked like. So I Googled it, and I was like, Hawks Super Bowl ring. And it showed Russell Wilson's popped up. And it's his actual ring. And it's awesome. Inscribed in the middle, the Tiffany ring, those Super Bowl rings I get, had the team's motivational quote, the score, and then 2 words. And would you believe it? But it's 2 words that Russell Wilson, after just winning the Super Bowl, wanted inscribed in his Super Bowl championship ring was, what's next? And that, again, like another brick to the head, that one hit me too. Because I was like, wow, that's a guy that gets it. That's a guy that could be done. He won the Super Bowl. He's Super Bowl winning quarterback Russell Wilson. But to have that growth mindset to be like, yeah, I've checked that box, but I'm not done. There's so much more life to be had. There's so much more to be done. I respect that, and I respect the way his mindset, and just makes me happy to know that the great minds think alike in that capacity. So keep asking yourself what's next. I'm actually going to get this video done under 10 minutes, Mark Green. I do want to say I have now a website, keelscorner.com. Check that out. I'm on Twitter now, which I barely know what I'm doing there, but I'm on Twitter at Keel's Corner. So check me out there. Like, subscribe. The book of the month, I'm going to keep this quick because I got 45 seconds and I'm going to meet that goal, is The Book Starts With Why. For all my buddies that went to school with me a couple years ago, I know you're laughing, but this is a phenomenal book in the sense of understanding your purpose, like what you're set to actually do. It gets you to think deep about what really makes you come alive, and then how and why, or how and what you can do to achieve that. So please, this is one of the 2 books that I read that started me on this reading kick that I've been on in this reading journey for the last 4.5 years, and this is one of the 2 that really got me going. It's an outstanding book by Simon Sinek, so Start With Why. Please pick this up and read it. And lastly, thank you so much for watching it. Thank you to Dave Gollin, Jen Flonaker, Ricky Cornejo for constantly critiquing my videos. I love you guys, and I really appreciate you constantly giving me that brutal feedback. Frank Laris, thank you for constantly telling me my life lighting sucks, and I'm going to work on it. I really appreciate you guys watching it. Like, share, and check out my website. I'm also going to put a link in the bottom. I'm running the New York City Marathon for Team Livestrong, so if there's any way you want to donate $5 and throw it my way, all that money is tax write-off, and it goes to a good cause. But I'm trying to run the New York Marathon in November of this year. So thank you so much. See you guys next month, and I can't wait to see you again at Keel's Corner.